Okay, I'm in the professional service business, so we have a number of product development teams creating products for a number of different clients. In our organization, we believe in the value of direct user feedback, but we found our clients didn't necessarily always agree. We wanted to start a practice around user testing, user research, prototyping, but we found it was hard to sell these services. They didn't want to invest the time and money. Our customers thought they knew all the answers. They just wanted us to focus on building. So we built, and we have an Agile delivery process. Somewhere in there, we found something really cool, a way to get direct user feedback and do it right in front of our clients' leadership teams. And the venue for that is the sprint demonstration. That's a meeting we have at the end of every one of our 2-week sprints, and we show the software that we've completed during that 2-week period, and attended the meeting is our clients' leadership teams and our teams. When we looked across what our teams were getting out of these sprint demos, though, we weren't getting very much at all. It was too focused on stakeholders in the meetings instead of actual users. We know users give much higher quality feedback than stakeholders. And these sprint demonstrations were supposed to be a time for us to figure out if we're going in the right direction or not and learn from it. Instead, it had been something we did every 2 weeks just to get a pat on the back. Good demo, you made some progress. So we know we needed to fix this. And it wasn't just about every sprint demonstration. This is my big point here. It's about doing that over and over again and showing our clients' leadership that there's a lot of value, that it's worth investing some specific time and effort towards user testing, user research, and these sort of techniques. So how did we elevate our sprint demos? We asked our teams to work on getting the right people involved, find users instead of stakeholders, and no matter who it is, set some expectations before the meetings that this is not just another meeting to tune out. We need their feedback. We asked our teams to prepare questions in advance. There were areas of uncertainty before going into every one of these sprint demos, and if we prepared questions, we could bring out, get the feedback we needed. When we were working with a large defense contractor, building an iPad app that was used by mechanics doing aircraft maintenance, we had trouble getting access to those mechanics, having them come to our demos, because they were too valuable on the shop floor. So we worked with a client leadership team. When we got those mechanics into demos, they weren't given much feedback, unfortunately. They were good at aircraft maintenance, but they weren't used to this kind of venue. So we asked them questions we had prepared in advance. They looked at the software we were showing them. They said, wow, that's not going to work quite right for me. So we were able to make some improvements. In a subsequent sprint, the mechanics were a lot happier. And the client leadership team that was also in the demo saw how happy they were, and they said, that worked. You can have access to those mechanics anytime you want. The next technique we applied is let the users use the software instead of our teams. So we asked our teams to prepare scripts in advance, and instead of our teams showing them, we would let the users click through, and the type of feedback we got went through the roof. When we were building a pricing engine for a digital publisher, we knew there were a lot of touch points with with their accounting team, but we had been working insofar with their CFO. When we got the accounting team into a demo and we had them going through and they were using the software, they got to a point and we all found out something that nobody knew. They looked at some of the data and they said, wait, that data is not here at this point in the sequence. The flow is all wrong. And they were not happy. Client leadership was not happy. We had to dig pretty deep and make some changes to our data model. After a few sprints, we recovered. We got them back in for another demonstration. They went through the script again, and they were a lot happier. And they turned around to the client leadership team, and they said, okay, we can see how we can start to use this software. So these are simple techniques that we applied and asked our teams to make some simple changes to find real users instead of stakeholders, to prepare some questions in advance, to prepare scripts to let users drive the software. And by doing these positive feedback loops, we found that we turned those leadership bit by bit into believers in the value of this feedback. They saw what we all learned. They saw what we were able to improve and what we were building. And by doing this in the sprint demos, we found that those leaders in those organizations where we had the positive feedback loops were more receptive to larger efforts, to more sophisticated user testing. And in this example with the aircraft mechanics, we ended up doing a time study. We spent 3 days. We collected a ton of valuable data. So these are some simple techniques that we've applied at 3 Pillar Global. And I think if any of you are doing Agile sprint-based development, you can step up.